Hello, welcome back to St Michael's Hill. As you can see, trains are running now, which is great. I'm very aware that until recently the videos have been pretty static, so it's quite nice to have some stock running. The loco fleet that I have is slowly being chipped up to DCC. So far, I've got the shunter Class 08 that you saw in the last video on the backboard and back seat and how I made that. There's also this load haul Class 37 from V-Trains that has been given a chip as well. There are a couple of locos that have been hardwired as well, so the Regional Railways Class 37, the Class 33 which has been part of the upgrading series, which you can catch by clicking the link in the top corner here. They've also been hardwired, so they're going to be the stock that you see most likely on the layout at the moment. I'm also currently working on a Bachmann Class 9, which is a little bit of an older version, so that's also being hardwired. Yeah, it's good to have some stock moving. Let me know what you would like to see run on the layout. If I have it, I will be able to run it, but leave a comment below. So to today's video, we're going to be installing this light into the marshalling yard. So it's going to sit here between the two lanes of traffic. I've picked up a light from Lord and Butler in Cardiff, which is a wonderful shop. You should check that out if you live anywhere nearby. It's well worth a trip over. And basically I'm going to be installing the light, showing you how it wire it up, and then going from there and checking that it works properly. And then I'll do a little bit of work on just blending it into the scene a little bit. I'll probably need to reballast where the light's going, and maybe put some kind of greenery around it to make it look like it's been there for a while. So that's what I'm going to be doing on today's video. So the lamp that I'm going to be using is this one from Berko. It's the twin head dustbin tall yard lamp. I have opened it quickly just to make sure it fits, and I'll talk you a little bit through what it is. But it looks like it's a fairly decent looking thing. Probably needs a little bit of weathering and just a little bit of improvement, but it should do the job. So I'm going to open up the box and I will show you quickly what you get out of the packet and how it's wired up. So here's the lamp as it comes. The blue wires for the negative wire, I've already got the resistor attached, which makes my life a little bit easier. The black wires for the positive are separate, so I'll just wire those together and add them to a chop block or a little plastic connector box. The wiring for these lamps will come off of my DC accessory bus, so I have under here a DC accessory bus that powers all the other lights, so the station lamps, the buffers, and the street lamps. So I've already left a connector free, so I just need to effectively wire it in simply with the blue wires going to the negative side and the black ones going to the positive side, and we'll be able to get it up and running. In terms of positioning, I'm going to aim for about here. Let's see if I can make that a little bit clearer for you. So yeah, about here between the two tracks, and I'll make sure that the head of the lamp is kind of sprayed that way, and I'll see what that looks like. Hopefully it's going to light up the area by the gate of the marshalling yard, and we'll be able to go from there. It'll hopefully look very effective. So I basically just quickly measured out a drill bit that I need. It's going to be big enough to allow the hole and also to fit the resistor through. So I'm just going to drill a hole quite simply through the baseboard. I'm using a hand drill just to give myself a little bit more control. Obviously don't want to do any real damage. And there's the result. got just a small hole that we can place the wires through. The base of the lamp is going to cover all that up, so there's not a problem there. It just gives us a nice bit of a room to work with. Now that's true, it's just a simple case of passing the wires through. Should be fairly easy, even one-handed. There we go. Because we've drilled a big enough hole, it keeps that job quite easy, and with the big base that's here, it's no reason not to drill a slightly larger hole than maybe I would with some of the other lights on the layout. So that's going to go through there. Obviously I just need to do a quick repair on the light itself, but as soon as that's in place I'll be able to wire it up, and then I'll glue it in position. So now a simple case of wiring up. Now luckily with St Michael's Hill, because it's quite a small layout, I can actually just turn the whole thing onto its side rather than having to crawl underneath to do the wiring. So I'm just going to quickly remove all the stock and the movable parts, and then I will be able to show you underneath the mess that is the wiring. Bear with me. So now the layout is clear of all the removable pieces, I'm going to flip it onto its side and I'll show you the wiring. So here's the very messy wiring for the layout. I really do need to sort this out a little bit, tie things down, but I just wanted to make sure everything was kind of in place and ready before I started fixing things down. So I've started to kind of fix some of these connector blocks down and make sure they're not going anywhere, but yeah, it's still a little bit of a mess, to be honest. So I need to connect the lights that we've got into the same switch as the street lights. So the street lights are these sections here, these two blocks, and as you can see, the positive and negative basically come out to here, and they pass back through this wiring, and then it comes out here where there is going to be a switch with a spare block that I'm going to be able to use to run a wire back through and down to this end. So that's what I'm going to do now, and bear with me. So I've now connected a positive and a negative to the circuit, and now I just need to solder them in. I'm going to use this heat shrink just to kind of insulate the joint a little bit. It should be said and made very clear, I'm not an electrician, and I'm not very good at this electrics business. I'm very new to it, so please don't take anything I say as the truth or the best way of doing things. I'm sure it's not. It's just how I am doing it, and I'm getting away with it so far. So yeah, if you're looking to do electrics yourself, please go and find some proper advice. As with all things, electricity is dangerous. Please make sure that you make sure that things are insulated properly and are safe. But yeah, enough of that. I'm going to solder this up, and then I'll see what it looks like on the other side. So we're all wired up, and I decided as well it will probably be a good time to neaten a few things up. So I've got the cable ties out and started to neaten everything up. I just need to get into the spaghetti junction that is this side and the even more spaghetti junction that is this side. But once that's done, I will have a look at the light on the other side. I have tested it, it is all working, so I can fairly confidently now get all these wires sorted out, and I'll get back to you once that's all done. So as you can see, the lights work okay. I'm just going to check that the switch works okay, so they should be on the same circuit as the street lights down there. And there we go, so that works well. What I'm going to do now is just fix it in place. I think it's just going to be a case of fixing this base into the correct kind of position, probably around here, and then it's just going to be a case of covering up the base a little bit, make it look a little bit less like a plastic model and more like the real thing. I'll probably get it somewhere like that, so the ladder is at the end with the gates. and the lights will face outwards, so I will do that and I'll get back to you. So to fix the light in place, I'm just going to use a little bit of super glue, just because it's going to give me that strength I need. So I'm just going to place a little bit around the hole, not too much. And I'll just hold that in place while it dries. So now that's had time to dry, I just need to blend it in a little bit more. The base would have probably been placed above ballast level anyway, thinking about it, so I might just have a few little bits on there, just where it might have been kicked on there, and around the edges to disguise that glue edge a little bit. But I think other than that, I'm going to keep it fairly light, just to blend it in a little bit more. I might put a little bit of foliage on it as well. Just very lightly around the edges. I'm just going to lay some of this. There we go. Whilst it looks a little bit bright at the moment, once it's had its PVA glue on top of it and then a little bit of weathering, it's going to look good. So I'm just going to apply some PVA and water mix now. So I'll just apply the glue now. I've got it in a little squeezy bottle to make life easier. So this is just a mix of PVA and water and a little bit of washing up liquid. That's just going to soak in there. Once that dries, that'll be nice and solid. Once it's there, I'm just going to add a little bit of foliage, but nothing too crazy. Just want to disguise it a little bit, not too much. Don't want it to look like an obvious disguise, so maybe just a corner or something like this. Again, just going to hit that with my glue mixture. There we go. Once that's dry, it's going to look a lot better. Another thing I did use in the area is a little bit of soil colour. So just again, add a little bit of that. Very, very gently though. I always want it to be kind of imperceptible. Don't want it to look quite so clean and grey. A lot of the ballast has all been weathered, so I want to avoid that if I can. There we go. So I'll let that dry and then I'll come back and see how it's looking. And now that the glue's dried, that's how it looks. I'm very pleased with the way that it blends in. It kind of looks like it was there originally, and I'm very happy with the light it gives out. So yeah, top job. So there we go. The final effect is pretty good. That with the lights out, the light levels are really good. I am thinking I probably will try and reduce the levels of the buffer stop lights, and also certainly the street lights. They're very bright, so I might add another resistor or two into the circuit to reduce those a little bit. I think the yard lights are quite a nice level, whereas those are a little bit bright for what they would probably be stereotypically. So I will look to do that at some point. So if you like what you've seen, please hit that like button. It really does help. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. At the time of recording this, I'm at about 160 subscribers, which has already just blown me away. I never thought I'd have anywhere near that when I started. I didn't think anyone would want to watch these videos at all, so thank you very much for doing it. The support really does mean the world. So if you haven't, please do subscribe. If you like what you've seen, hit that like button, and as always, please feel free to comment below, ask any questions, give me any feedback, tell me how bad my wiring is. That would be awesome. So thank you very much, and I'll see you again soon on Sir Michael's Hill. Bye bye.